Hi Survivor, welcome to my new video. Today I will bring you a tutorial on Jaws. I think you are all suffering from the fact that you hit the great white shark, but your damage cannot be increased. Why is this? Maybe your adverb isn't in the right tone. Let's take a look. First of all, my account uses the modules of the old area. I haven't updated the new area yet. Then, it is divided into several sets. I will introduce them to you one by one. First of all, as for your equipment, we are the first choice. We must be the first choice. 1. Lone Wolf 2. 3 Lone Wolves 2 rescues nothing wrong? Then finally bring a Shaman Picture Old Top. Because the Shaman Picture Old Top will increase the critical hit rate by 35% after triggering the keyword Unstable Explosive Bomb. This critical hit rate is given to you. Whether it is the critical hit rate of explosive bombs or your personal critical hit rate, it will be improved. Whether you are playing PvP or PvE, you must bring this with you. When playing PvP, we can't switch to the so-called 3 hurricanes plus 3 saves, otherwise our explosive bombs will not be triggered and the heavy hit explosive bombs will be useless. Secondly, this entry is the entry for this module. Let you take a look. The one I'm using now is an unstable explosive bomb that I think is very useful. You see, after triggering the unstable explosive bomb, it automatically reloads 13%, and then the complex entry is also unstable. The effect of the entry is to catch up with the spirit. And as for this complex entry, mine is not very good. It only has an unstable explosive bomb that adds 6%. Normally, is there any explosion damage after that? Or is it the critical damage from the unstable explosive bomb? Harmful. If you can make these 3 entries appear at the same time, then you are successful. Then, what is the other one I have? Let me take a look, and there is an old one. This one is useless. Why? Because after the damage test, my double spirit is not as good as the unstable explosive bomb. Why? Since my elemental damage and abnormal damage have increased, it is useless to ask for this power. It is calculated based on the program, because the unstable explosive bomb is a separate program. So its damage is high no matter what. This is the first one. Then the second one is clothes. When it comes to clothes, I push by hand, and I am an abnormal expert who pushes alone. Why should I explain it to you first? Well, first of all, I have both sets. You take this lucky player for example, right? However, it cannot cause additional weak point damage. The critical hit power is increased by 10%, and the critical hit damage is increased by 30%. You seem very strong, right? The damage increase is very high, but in practice it's a piece of shit. To be honest, it's a piece of shit. But if you bring the abnormal expert explosion, the range will be reduced. But if you have a pistol, you are mainly focused on mid-range operations. In combat, what's the point of having range? What does it add to you? The precious rate of fire is 10% and abnormal damage is added. You can ignore the abnormal damage, it is simply added damage. But what about the rate of fire? Can the lucky player give it to me? Can't give it? And as for the subtitles, we also focus on critical hit damage, and because the target is covered, isn't it? He doesn't eat that now, and it has a bonus against ordinary enemies. I used to eat it, but now I don't. So if it's best to chase, we are in the most ideal state, you have to go in for critical damage, right? Then the next 4 are abnormalities, and you have to chase the abnormal damage. Otherwise, or you want to play infinite streaming like me, I recommend that you pursue a magazine capacity. This magazine capacity is really important. If you have more than 20 rounds, you can basically cycle infinitely. Then let me show you the mask again. My mask is very strange. Let me take a look at it. It's my mask. It adds 36% to unstable bomb damage, but adds 6% to explosion damage. Why choose to wear it this way? I also have another one here that adds 4.8% to the damage of unstable projectiles. And then adds 4.8% to the damage of explosions. In this era, which is far inferior to this single elf, with explosion damage, the damage is at least 3 to 4,000, just for this one entry. So in this way you can more clearly see how scary he is in the single city area, because of the unstable pack of ammunition. As we have seen before, your weapon has an unstable pack of ammunition. So it has already been upgraded to 1 round. But I don't have explosion damage. It's just a single city area, so it's just how much you add, and it's not diluted. And the next thing is clothes. As for clothes, I recommend them. I personally recommend them. If you want to wear shoes that are steady, then I only recommend one thing. Which is to maintain the advantage. No matter how good your other clothing items are, when you are playing PvE, clearing and pushing monsters. Only maintaining the advantage can bring you an excellent gaming experience, and no gel is needed. You must be drinking when you go out, right? If you drink alcohol, the pollution level is not a problem. Then let me show you the mask. My mask is very strange. Let me take a look at it. It's my mask. It adds 36% to unstable bomb damage, but adds 6% to explosion damage. For why choose to carry it this way? I also have another one here that adds 4.8% to the damage of unstable projectiles, and then adds 4.8% to the damage of explosions. In this era, which is far inferior to this single elf, with explosion damage, the damage is at least 3 to 4,000, just for this one entry. So in this way you can more clearly see how scary he is in the single city area, because of the unstable pack of ammunition. As we have seen before, your weapon has an unstable pack of ammunition. So it has already been upgraded to 1 round. But I don't have explosion damage. It's just a single city area, so it's just how much you add, and it's not diluted. So after you bring this, you only need to consider the issue of blood. Then you have to recover blood every time you kill monsters. Will you be invincible? I don't want to introduce this much, but it still explodes. Look, our front is exploding. Unstable pack ammo, and then bring a burst, right? If your pants still burst, don't worry about it. This one brings critical strike fanaticism. There is no dispute about this. Because of the infinite flow, it will remove this effect every time you reload, but we have infinite flow without reloading, okay. Basically, if you shrink down, any boss, elite, or monster will be dead. Well, this is critical hit damage, and the first priority is critical hit damage or force damage, abnormal damage, etc., but the main entry must be. It must be gold critical hit, and the sub-entry can just chase the magazine capacity, or as I said, chase the magazine if you can. I will focus on gloves. As for gloves, I recommend you to fight bosses, superiors, or monsters similar to symbiotic monsters, such as the recovery monster, the void monster, and the foundry array. Really there isn't any running. My entry seems to be very good, but in fact it is still rubbish. I have a weak point that can cause damage, but I'm not satisfied with the weak point damage. The most ideal thing is to cause a critical hit and add elements to cause elements to add critical damage. Ah, no, I made a mistake. When a critical damage is caused, elemental damage is added after the critical hit is caused. After an element is caused, the critical hit damage is added. This is the best. What can this thing lead to in the end? What? Your damage is getting higher and higher, and then with the crit praise of the pants, you can increase the critical hit, and you can increase the critical damage. Just think about it. How terrible the damage it can increase. As for this, I don't need to say more, there are 2 resonance entries. This resonance entry cannot have 3 resonance entries. It only has 2 resonance entries at the most. So after the source of the nightmare is revealed, you should brush up on this glove. I currently only recommend gloves or pants. But it depends on which one you lack. Then there are these shoes. I don't need to say more about the shoes, right? Explode slowly and steadily. Anyway, my recommendation is to use an explosive bomb and add a resonance bomb. And everything else will explode. In this case, the damage can be maximized for you. Then the main entry, critical hit damage must be shortened. Okay, this is one of our basic panels. Then they use ordinary material armor-piercing bullets, which can achieve the super sense of 911. Then the weapons are 4 stars. The other miscellaneous lone wolves have not been upgraded to stars. Then the savior has been upgraded a little, to 2 stars, and then the shaman the picture is 4 stars and the savior is 2 stars. And for this damage, I recommend you a cradle dedicated to target practice. This cradle is not, this cradle is the most comfortable in the world. Why bring a quality barrier? A high quality barrier will allow you to fight enemies in the big world without losing blood because it has a shield with maximum health. Then there is also a set specifically for target shooting. This one is no different from our normal set. There is no difference from our normal set except for the cradle. Let me show you, this will make all your buffs full. Just like some kind of weakness damage, right? And as for this, the main reason is that there is nothing to bring. If you want to hit with this bullet, but with this mark, you won't be able to hit it. You can play with an abnormal control, and you can bring it like this, but now you can't take the target, and the wounded and elites are weird. So these are all the buffs you can get. After that, I will take this broken girl with me and give you a fight. I'm shooting at the target now. Isn't the target being shaved off now? Now the target no longer takes damage from the normal enemy, and my damage will be reduced, so please take a look. Okay, it's another classic bug. If you can't find it, you won't find it yet. Okay, come out, first change the bullet, shoot once, then shoot again, and then the clown can help him shoot. This is the current broken birthday gift that brings harm to girls. If you say you want me to have a meal later, then you want to say don't let go of the girl, just use the bullseye, and then go and see how much damage it can do. Let's reload first. And then if we only deal with the damage caused by cutting guns and single-handed killing, and don't even need the mark of the knife, what kind of B then we are around 53,000 to 54,000. This is the current damage that Dubai kills me. You believe me, if you finish chasing the entries, the damage will be much higher than mine, and it can even reach 100,000 yuan. Why did I hit 100,000 before? It's because I've collected enough damage to ordinary enemies, so I'll show you this thing, do you see it? My damage to ordinary enemies is golden. So my target damage is high. Now this bug has been fixed, so my damage is no longer that high but it still exists. For example, the big world push map, or the like is also useful. But it is definitely not as good as the abnormal damage or gun damage. Is true, because gun damage and abnormal damage are common to all enemies. Okay, that's the end of this video homage, can it be? Take a look, it's just a shot. Bundle. If this video is helpful to you, please give it a like. And by the way, if you want to give Baymax a star by killing him, here is a blueprint. I have already finished exploring the materials for Dubai Kill to rise to the star. It is Dubai Kill, then adds Xiaobai Kill, adds Hammerhead Killer, and the other one is our old friend, Courage. I believe everyone has taken Courage, right? After extracting it, I fed the fragment directly to Dubai to kill. And after you draw them, you can exchange all these weapons in the blueprint store if you drew them. You see, I have already replaced one for Baymax, and I just replaced it for Hammerhead. Then, for example, if I click on the rifle and I haven't changed the Courage yet, you can save 8,000 to exchange for Courage, and then get its fragments, and then the submachine gun will still have a novice kill. Swap it out and cut him to pieces. In this case, there should be no problem with my Dubaisha, it can reach 5 stars. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.